All right, hey guys, my name is Andre, and on today's video, I am going to be going over and recapping the most recent Titano AMA. I will also be giving my opinion on what I liked about what I heard and what I didn't like about what I heard. So if you're interested in not having to listen to the full 2 hour and 12-minute thing, I'm going to summarize it here for you, so stick around for that. Before we get into that, I got a disclaimer for you. Remember, this is not financial advice. Whatever recommendations and opinions I state in this video are mine and mine alone, so make sure you do your own research, and I'm just hoping that this video helps you at least get started somewhere. And if it does, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, share. You know it. All of that is super helpful. I also want to point out that I do own Titano. It is one of my larger holdings, but I can promise and guarantee you that I'm going to be as unbiased as possible because trust me, I still have concerns with this project that I hope that they can address. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into the project, okay? So the AMA started, as you guys would believe, which is they're going to talk about the play hack. Okay, so if you're somebody who was a part of that, you were part of play, I'm sorry that that happened to you. I believe that you should have gotten your tokens back, and so therefore it really didn't affect you all that much other than the price dropping a little bit. And they're planning on opening that in the new migration as well. So that function, if you enjoyed it, is going to be more secure and safe coming in Titano V2. So that being said, here's what my concerns were with how it all went down. So I'm not gonna, like you probably all heard about it. They made a couple of articles about it, blah, 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 blah. In essence, in short, basically what happened is the person that they hired to design the play function ended up designing a back door so that way he could go in and take it out whenever he wanted. And that's how $2 million was taken in a matter of seconds. So here's what the concern is, okay? The team doesn't really give any sort of explanation other than this person was supposed to be trusted, right? Like that, come on, that is a bunch of horse manure because end of the day, whenever you launch something new, especially in crypto where literally rugs and scams, you can't throw a rock without hitting one. Like, you need to have it audited. So the one thing that they've never stated is whether or not this went through an internal or external audit before they launched it. As far as I can tell, it didn't, and they just trusted that it would work because they thought that they could trust the developer. So, end of the day, even in that moment, you probably still should have audited the play function to make sure that there weren't any other vulnerabilities. Sorry for my English. So that's just my personal opinion. Like, that is something that I hope going forward, if they're designing, and I know they are, designing other utilitarian functions for the Titano token, that they do an audit before launching it and potentially causing another hack or scam or whatever to occur. So if you are the team, please let us know if there was an audit. Please come out and say, hey, we're gonna go forward, making sure to audit and properly test out and make sure there are no backdoors and scripts that could potentially fail the system. That would be amazing if you could do that. But in turn, like the positive aspect of this, they did give tokens back to people out of their own fund. They're still working on trying to get the original money back. They know exactly who took it, and they're working with a company that is, and a firm that is apparently large and does this special thing where they will go after, because this person was KYC'd, they know exactly who it is. So hopefully we'll get positive news that that money will be returned back to Titano soon. Moving on, right, the next big part of the AMA came down to what kind of utility is going to be brought to the system. And at the end of the day, what they're trying to do is create a deflationary system, because right now Titano is purely inflationary. Yes, they've been burning because the health, and it's still so new that you really haven't seen people like max out and really start earning really large rewards. That's probably coming down the road, which is why they're working really hard to include other things for people to take the money out of the 102,000% APY and put it into something else. But in essence, that's still kind of an issue for me, because the fact of the matter is, it's still inflationary, and end of the day, if you can't incentivize people well enough to take their money out of something that's earning them 102,000%, right? Then eventually, I mean, like, you've got 45,000 people holding the token. I almost guarantee you there's going to be plenty of people, even if it's just 1%, that's still 450 people that just buy the token and just completely forget that they even own it, right? And those are people that aren't going to be convinced to take their tokens and put it in play or whatnot. So, and you're not going to be able to rationalize with them because you're not going to know who they are. And so you've got a bunch of token holders that, one of them may own 1 million of them and forget about it. And then within a year, they are now at 1 billion tokens. And that's where issues can be caused when you don't have a way to prevent that from happening. So I know people were talking about potentially creating a max limit, a whale tax. I don't know. I think there's, the team thinks that it'll be perfectly fine. I personally, I don't see it being sustainable beyond a few years at the very least. But we'll see. Honestly, I do think that there should be some sort of max to prevent people from, because again, when you get to 20% of holding Titano and you're like 20% holder, right, which is a possibility, right, with how fast it's growing, then at the end of the day, you're earning 2% additional on that. So then the very next day, you're going to hold 22%, and then et cetera. So, or at the very least, if nobody else is selling and adding to the treasury or RFV, you're just going to be minting a bunch of tokens, and the price of the token is going to go down. It's going to ruin it for everybody. So I think that is one of the biggest issues that they may not face right now, but is something that will come in the future. And no matter what utilitarian functions you create and NFTs that you create, still a problem. Guaranteed still a problem. It may slow it down for the near future, but end of the day, you gotta have a solution. You have to have a solution for anybody who's not even paying attention. That being said, they didn't really talk a lot because they have a bunch of ideas, and for the most part, they want the community to talk and discuss and give them ideas for what they want to do and the types of platforms they want to build out. Their focus right now is NFTs for sure. And the idea would be that you buy the NFT and then with the Titano token, and that Titano token would burn, creating again a deflationary system. And they're going to make it, they say it's going to be one of the most unique NFTs in the space. It's going to have auto staking functionalities to it, etc. So in a very similar sort of aspect as Universe, but auto staking. As well as, one thing that concerns me is within this AMA and ones that he's had in the past is the fact that they're talking about how they want the community to be involved and to decide. But end of the day, it's just like really going into the Discord and saying, hey, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to help us and fundraise and invest in this? Versus creating a governance token where you basically have the token holders and you can have them vote. Like that's what literally all the other protocols do. So I don't understand why they don't create a governance function to it. I think it would be super helpful and probably honestly better overall to be able to add additions and changes to the protocol. So that's my opinion versus just like, hey, once Discord members say, yes, we like it, then we're going to go take the money and do it. Like that just, I would rather there be a governance tokens for security purposes, in my personal opinion. Another, like a positive thing, again, that's going to come out is the fact that everybody's like forking and copying Titano. I think that's a good sign because usually the project that's being copied is the most solid and legit project, and everything else tends to be in the realm of scams and people trying to get a quick profit out of the way. And not really being original. So I'd be very careful for anybody that's promising the same thing that Titano is, and make sure that they have something original that they're offering with it and not just a copy paste code. Because again, that is right now the Titano code allows for the owners to basically do whatever, take out however much, set the tax limits. So again, if they're copying and pasting, Titano is changing that. They are creating new smart contracts that are going to go in effect next week. And so you'll have to do a token migration, and it's going to take away a lot of the power from the team, which is a good positive sign. But all these other ones, they may potentially still have that written into the code. And so you have to be very, very careful. Again, I think this gives a positive sign to Titano and its health. But you just want to make sure you're a smart investor when it comes down to it. I also want to point out that one thing that they did mention was how a lot of these projects are coming to them and asking them about like the math behind the 102,000% APY, which apparently the team and the dev team really went through it and figured that this is the most sustainable number that they can provide, the highest one that they could provide that's fixed. Again, I don't know what that math is. I truly, honestly wish I did. I do think that they should, but I know that one of the reasons they don't is because they don't want other projects to basically copy them. Which is understandable. They're still a business. They want to be the best. They want to grow. But here's my suggestion to them is because that code, if it's special and unique enough, and that math is special and unique, it's potentially intellectual property. And if you patent it, if anybody else copies that and basically puts it in their code, you could sue, right? And you can take any revenue that they make and keep it for yourself. So my suggestion potentially would be to get that intellectual property patented. So then that way you can come out and tell your community at least, hey, this is how we got the math. This is why we know it's going to work. Like we have tested this. And because now that it's patented, nobody can copy our system. Like we're comfortable with sharing that with you. So that's just it. Hopefully they can do that. And at least respond to this saying, hey, we've actually been working on it, or this is why we can't do it, etc. Couple more little points that they mentioned in these new contracts. Again, they're not going to be able to set the sell limit to 100%. They have, again, the code is designed for it to basically stay at 13 and 18%. As far as they know, they should never have to change that. On top of that, they will no longer be able to blacklist or whitelist wallets, which again, may be good, may be bad. It's in general like an unethical thing to do, but at the same time, when you have unethical people trying to completely destroy and hurt thousands of other people, like it's kind of an ethical battle, and you really have to determine what's good and what's not good. So we'll kind of find out how it works. If it becomes an issue, it may be something that hopefully that they design that allows for people like whales to not ruin the protocol. Again, that's really going to be up to the dev team. So be careful on that because of the fact that they can't do that. If a whale does come in and decides to mess around with the protocol and really pump and dump this thing, that may affect your tokens and it may even ruin the project. So let's just kind of see what happens. They are going to be releasing a mobile app within the next few months that will allow you to purchase the Titano token using fiat. I'm not sure how it's going to work, whether within that app is you stake, whether you have to transfer those tokens to your MetaMask or whatever. I don't know how it's going to work, but for the most part, you're not going to have to buy on another exchange, pay those fees, and then transfer in, blah, 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 blah. So I'm super excited for that. I hope it comes out soon because I would probably be using it all the time. And lastly, the main, the last thing that they talked about is potentially adding into the website learning functionalities. So potentially creating videos that teach you about Titano, teach you about personal finance, and et cetera. I would add as a suggestion to the team to focus your Twitter also on education. It seems like like if we look at somebody like Librio, they are constantly posting how, oh my God, this whale got in. Like that to me is a huge red flag when all they're doing is saying, hey, because this whale is in, that means you should buy our token. And they only care about pushing the price and trying to get it as all-time high. Like, again, they clearly don't care whether or not you know and understand, finance and developing the project. They're just really trying to boost the price of the token, which again gives off very scammy vibes. Titano doesn't do that. They're not posting saying, hey, here's a whale that, joined. You should all join now because of this whale, right? They're posting actual updates, but I would encourage them to, on top of that, go and follow personal finance channels and post educational things about how people can save money, how people can build their credit score, right? What people should do, at what point people should withdraw. I know Librio kind of does that. I'm not really a big fan of it because their thing is, hey, after 14 days, start withdrawing 1% at a time. But again, that's really only effective if you have a lot and you're earning like $10 or more a day. Well, no, if 1% was like $10 or more, which would mean that you'd have to have about $1,000 a day, because again, you have to consider those fees. So if you're taking 1% out and that's only $1, you're probably paying about as much within gas fees. So again, if you're making $1,000 a day and you can withdraw 1% a day, great, fantastic. That's a smart idea, but end of the day, doesn't necessarily work for everybody. So anyway, that's just my last thing for Titano. Please be better than Librio and create and post educational resources for people, not just about Titano, but about just finance in general. If your true goal is financial freedom for people, help them get there. Help them find a way to earn a little bit of extra income to then put into Titano, or help them earn a little bit of income so they can pay off their debt, right? And get to a level where they can have disposable income. So there we go, guys. I just summarized the AMA within 17 minutes. So hopefully you got some value out of it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I will answer most questions through my TikTok. So make sure you go follow that, because I will do more up-to-date updates and quick updates on a lot of different DeFi projects that I'm following and invested in on my TikTok, and we'll answer your questions on there as well. So thank you so much. Please subscribe, please like, please comment, please share. Hopefully you found some value in this. My name's Andre, and I'm out.